higher ranked.
Cool. Alrighty. Welcome back to the stream of the Australian Ultimate Championships Division 2 here in beautiful Wollongong. Hi, my name is Max Halden, and I'm here with the president of the Australian Flying Disc Association, Jonathan Potts. Jonathan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thanks, Max. It's delightful to be here, actually, and delightful to be sharing the mic with you.
Yes, it's a great combo. Last heard at Mixed Nationals, and yeah, ready to bring you this game, which is going to prove to be hopefully an interesting one between Bauhaus, Melbourne, R1, and Tempest from the inner west of New South Wales.
Yeah, so I was just discussing before whether this is one of the Bauhaus reserve teams and whether they've ranked these two teams or they're two equal teams. But regardless, Bauhaus is a bit of a powerhouse of women's ultimate, and I can well imagine they've put together a pretty good reserves team here to take on Tempest, who definitely finished very highly last year, maybe second last year at Div 2 Nationals.
Yeah, Tempest definitely a force to be reckoned with. One of the many clubs that's kind of blossomed out of Sydney. There's been a real growth in the number of teams, and that's been driven largely by having a Div 2 championships, which teams like this can go to. So it will be an interesting game for sure as Bauhaus go down and we'll get Tempest picking the disc up.
So they take it off the sideline and centre it straight away to Moran. Oh, just slightly overthrown. So Bauhaus gets their first opportunity pretty early on in the game.
Yeah, Bate will, once she finds the disc, Bate will walk it up to the sideline. Got a deep cut coming straight off the bat, but hits it through the middle to Young. Oh, who just unfortunately, error there by Rekeho.
Moran's going deep. She's got height, pulls it down. It was a good bid from Bauhaus and sends the goal to Wolski. Those are going to be two key players, I think, for Tempest.
Yes, captain there, catching the goal, leading our team to a 1-0 lead. Yeah, watched Bauhaus play earlier today against the Rogue team. Yeah, they're very confident. They're a quick team, that's for sure, Bauhaus. Very fast, love good, quick disc movement, and quite physical as well. Not afraid about getting into a contest, breaking stuff up. So we should see some pretty spectacular bids, hopefully, and yeah, good clean fun today.
Yeah, it's all about good, clean fun, isn't it? So both these teams are coached. Tempest has Brett Latham, one of the super coaches of Australian Ultimate. He's got his fingers in many pies, including coaching the men's team for Beach Worlds in a few months' time. But he's taken on this role with the Div 2 team, Tempest, and it'd be good to see how he influences the game here, I suppose, tactically.
Yes, and Bauhaus going to get a chance to start on offense now. So disc gets centered there, number 4. And through the middle there. Apologies in advance of any commentating mistakes. These numbers are quite challenging to read. Pulled down there nicely.
I think we need a font rule now.
Exactly. Oh, and an excellent grab there through the middle by Go. Go engages the dump. Oh, and just a miscommunication there gives the disc to Tempest.
Moran's going, and there's been sent. Not quite in position. Good position by Bauhaus.
Yeah, once again, that speed from Go gets a nice little block there. Upfield pass. Gets her into power position. Looks up the huck. Go is everywhere on the field at the moment. But the dump goes across to Oh, a little bit of a trip up there, but upfield the play continues. They're really happy to just keep working it in some small spaces, though. And, of course, as soon as I say that, give them the commentator's curse, and there's a bit of a skill error, but also a very tough option to cram it down the sideline there.
Yeah, they kind of got stuck on the sideline a little bit there, but they look quite comfortable up until probably that last execution. Like, they're quite comfortable just generating cuts into that sideline space. So it's a big swing with a lot of air under it, and Bauhaus gets it down.
Yeah, and this will give Bauhaus a very short field to work with. Oh, a lot of small ball, a lot of people crowding around the space. Big pump fakes there from Akabe, but gets it off. Getting to a high count now, but that will do. Akabe scores the goal for Bauhaus to make it 1-1.
It was a good point to watch. Bauhaus showed they've got good fundamentals out there. Different style so far, with Tempest very happy to put the disc up in the air deep, whereas Bauhaus was very patient, looking for short shots all the time, and only really got unstuck when they went for something a bit larger.
Yeah, I mean, Bauhaus not short on height necessarily, but certainly their style. When I was talking about that physicality, a lot of that physicality manifests itself in close disc movement. You know, not afraid of having someone, you know, with a kind of elbow or a hand or really, really close to you, but still feeling confident that, you know, you can hit those targets in those small areas. There's certainly no fear in the eyes of the handlers if there's a player directly behind the person, their intended receiver.
And do you think that, like, the style, like a lot of these teams here this weekend have a Div 1 team, and do you feel like the style of some of these Div 2 teams is reminiscent of their Div 1, like, elder siblings?
I think you're onto something there. Obviously every team is different, but especially with Bauhaus, we'll talk about Mish Phillips, who's coaching them later, but certainly a factor that is impacting them.
So Tempest picks it up around the brick mark, little give go. Not in many options right now. It must be a high count. Releases it, but finds... So she found Kasuya in the middle of the field, but she just couldn't hold on to it.
And a young captain there picks up the disc. Centers it to U. U hits So, and So goes up the field. They're right on the sideline again, which is probably not an area they want to be. And right on cue, tries to swing it off, but unfortunately just a miscommunication or an overthrow.
So I think it's Moody picking up the disc. They're isolating their players in the middle of the field there, but just not struggling a bit to find the open receiver, and they couldn't connect that one again.
Yeah, and clever little block there. Knew the count was high, and the Bauhaus player just peeled off, took the stack, and got a reward. All right, want to bounce it off. Oh, and the inside look is good. Young continues. Oh, well read there. That's a nice goal. Looks like a Akabe again in the end zone. Man, and we talk about a contrast in styles. I mean, you saw Tempest there. Really a lot of space. Trying to give their offensive players a lot of space, get big gainers, 20, 30 meter shots. Whereas Bauhaus, much, much closer. 5 meter passes, 10 meter passes at most. Really happy to just move it.
Yeah, it looked a bit to me like, I mean, almost like what we call like a German offensive set with, well, they had kind of had 2 players isolated in the middle of the field and then some wing deeps hanging out, creating all that space in the middle of the field. But yeah, they struggled a little bit to actually hit those or to use the space properly that they created. But I mean, yeah, maybe just a little bit of fine tuning required, or. Yeah. And I guess it was kind of allowing some poachers to get involved, so maybe they just need to fine-tune that aspect of it as well.
And yeah, that's a tough call against a team like Bauhaus. And a team like that, a lot of the players are really given license to go and find a poach block. You know, they're not. Yeah, we're not saying, you know, mark your man, guard that player, guard that player. It really is a license to, if you can find a block, go and get a block. And when you give that much space to some of those defenders, they're going to get one of those poach blocks like we saw just before.
So Tempest really needs to score this one, get themselves back in. Wolski stops it. Moody going to pick it up. Far sideline, a bit past the brick mark. It was a pretty short pull. She sends it. Shows that aggressive deep game, and again Moran deep on the field. She's about 5 meters out of the end zone. Bit of a miscue throw, but Wolski picks it up low. She's right on the end zone line, a few meters out, and scores the goal easily eventually. to Lamb. Julianne Lamb.
And there you go, right on cue. Deep shot.
Yeah. And look, it works for them, doesn't it? Alyssa's pretty strong out there.
Yeah.
Probably the tallest player on the field, and they're using it well. So the weather conditions today have been like varying winds, I suppose. Generally kind of light winds. At the moment we've got it's a cross-field wind, so going across from the camera side of the field to the other side of the field. So it shouldn't pose too much of a problem for these players, but I guess the preferred throw is to throw on the downwind side of the field, if that makes sense. If you try to throw up into the wind, you're probably going to have a bit of trouble, I reckon.
It's true. And I think one thing, if you've been watching a few games on the stream today, you probably will have noticed, certainly from the first game to this game, even though the wind has maybe even picked up a bit from that first game, just people have been able to start reading the disc a lot better, understanding the wind, throwing with the wind. The first game there were a lot of just slight gusts that caused havoc, whereas now everybody seems a bit more confident. So it'll be Bauhaus now who gets a chance to extend their lead. It's picking the disc up, who finds Young early on off the reset. Oh, nice. Coming in hot there is number 98, So. Oh, and a big shot in movement to a very open player, but it's just kind of ends up overrunning it, unfortunately.
There's a bit more expansive kind of play from Bauhaus. So they're showing they've got a few different styles. It's Angela Nguyen picking the disc up. She's going to walk it up to the front of the end zone. They're kind of on a sideline there, on the downwind sideline. Vertical stack. Lacunza tries to make a cut from deep, but couldn't quite get free enough. But now they're looking for her. She's another tall girl, but looks like that didn't come back in, or yeah, we'll see where.
Bit of discussion now. Yeah, coming right up.
A bit down there.
Yeah, another stall 9 bailout option, and this time they couldn't reel that one in.
So the receiver there, Nicole Lacunza, she's definitely an athlete, like one of the more athletic players in this team, I think. So look for her, I imagine. Looks like she's playing defensive line mostly.
Oh, wow.
And needs to learn to catch her blocks.
And just, I mean, the disc goes down in the end, but that was a spectacular grab from
Lacunza's trailing deep with space and height advantage. Now she cuts under.
Couldn't reel it in.
Yeah, that might have been close to the sideline, which probably distracted her a bit.
So Young's going to pick it up, maybe 10, 15 metres back from where she did just prior. Again, not really looking for the dump. Wants an upfield option to start. Oh, wow, and that's picked off nicely by Nobu.
So Tempest has it about halfway. Lacunza's going deep again and pointing for it, but possibly not a pucker with the disc. Goes to Cargill. She's a pretty confident, experienced handler. She gets it to Adlam. Just can't quite get the disc to Lacunza.
Yeah, tough angle there for the throw. Oh, wow. A little bit of traffic, but everyone's happy with it.
Oh, nice. To Kelly Thompson. She's put a beautiful throw into the end zone.
Wow, that is beautiful touch.
By Rosaline Tsang.
Really nice. Yes. That was a nice little finish there.
Good aggressive play from Tempest, I thought. Like, when they got those turns, they looked to immediately kind of press home the advantage. I think Bauhaus looked a little bit more tentative when they had the disc. Like, they're looking to swing it, and it didn't quite come off a couple of times. Yeah.
Young was in a bit of a kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't position. The first couple of times she looked just straight up the field, not at the dump, didn't want the early swing, wanted a powerful position upfield. That didn't work out. And then when she started to pivot, I suppose, and look back to the dump, then the dump was closed off. So both times didn't really feel like she had an option that was a viable one. And that's a tough position to be in when you're on the downwind sideline trying to get it off, especially when you're 20 or 30 meters away from the end zone.
Yeah, I think the other thing that can be hard on that sideline is like sometimes you're being given the end zone, like they're letting you throw to the end zone. You got to make the judgment of whether you want to like maybe take that risk or try to essentially swing it, but into the wind, which also carries a bit of risk with it. And that's often why teams try to trap on the downwind sideline.
Yeah, it's certainly effective for Tempest. Some good heads-up defense from both the dump defenders and the front of stack. All right, pull goes up, and it's going to just graze the line, but stay a couple of meters in. Disc is centered, looking for the first movement here from Bauhaus. The defense is on hard at the moment. This could be trouble. It's a high stall count, but it's a nice high backhand off, and that leads to the continuation.
Good
Got number 9,
Bauhaus.
Wong. Very confident to number 41. Swing goes up to number 90, Rakeho. Back to 41. Oh, and the arounds are coming off nicely. Really great full stretch grab there with 2 hands. It's 86, Akabe. She's been a star for them today. Oh, and has to hit a late stall count, and unfortunately there's nobody there to reel it in.
She looked to that inside shot that seemed to almost be on, but maybe she just decided there wasn't enough space. And found some space to throw the disc in desperation, but it just, no one could get it down. Moody with the disc. Put a lot of air under that. It's going to be hard to read. And it was hard to read.
Akabe comes down with that one. Hits back to the middle of the field to Rakeho, who gets the cross-field shot, keeps the movement. Wong with an outstretched hand going the opposite direction, but looks confident. Oh, it's in the air. Oh, and Caroline Tamas does enough.
Tamas. She's picked it up. She's looking for some movement. Wolski's giving her a swing. Moody, she likes to hug. And she does. Tamas under it. Oh, she got the hand to it. There's a little bit of contact. Maybe they're going to discuss it.
Yeah, a little bit of a yelp on the call, which always indicates something's going to eventuate.
Game advisors inquiring, see whether they're needed. And it looks like it's a turnover.
Yeah, no call on that one.
So Bauhaus is walking up to the line.
On their own end zone line, Rakeho gets that nice high backhand to break across. Oh, and the wind's just going to catch that one. Yeah, that Gus playing...
Moody running to it. She wants to get the disc moving quickly. She's got Tamas supporting. But again, she just sends it. Wolski is out the back there, and it's in the end, it's an easy catch for her and an easy goal.
Yeah, interesting D there from Bauhaus. I mean, there were 3 Tempest players, all deep in the end.
Still trying to work out who caught that, but
they know who they are.
Emily Berry caught the goal. So it was Shayna Wolski to Emily Berry.
And we'll just watch it again on replay. Shayna just in quite a lot of space in the end, had 3 Tempest players and just managed to get it that extra couple of meters over the line. So we're in a 4-2 now, Potsy, and I would have said if I didn't have a scoreboard in front of me that Bauhaus actually had the upper hand. They seem quite confident when they have the disc, but Tempest, they have that long game, and you can end points quickly, which can make a difference on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think if you looked, if we had stats and one of the stats was minutes in possession, then Bauhaus would probably be leading on that. But I guess Tempest has done more with their time in possession, and yeah, they're very aggressive, aren't they? Like Moody ran to that disc and barely looked at any other options and hucked it, and the receivers knew it was coming.
Exactly. Bate has it in the middle of the disc now. Oh, and a touch on the disc. That's a hand block.
Yeah, Moran. I think it's Nguyen picking the disc up. She's on the downwind sideline about halfway. With Lacunza cutting in hard. She gets about 10 meters from that cut. Nguyen for the center. No swing available. She looks again to the sideline. And Moran is free, but yeah.
Opt instead. Yeah, the wasn't seen at the right time.
Yeah.
And Bate once again with the disc. Moran maybe hungry for another hand block, but gets it off confidently to Vanderwerker, who gets it upfield to Chatterton. Chatterton now back to Bate. Bate sees the continuation. Now we've got a little bit of pressure on that one. Ooh with the disc. Oh, and there's been a bit of contact upfield. That's Dhaliwal on the ground.
Well, it's physical.
Yeah, I wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
But just...
I'd say friendly physical right now.
Yeah, they all look pretty happy about the whole thing. Brett stepping in as the role of game advisor and offering his opinion unsolicited. That's an important coach's role, of course. Just,
every team has a different kind of approach, I guess, to how involved you get on the field. I'm very old school. When I see injustice, I call it out.
That's fair enough. And
big hammer.
Oh, it's across. Oh, and it just ends up slipping through the hands of So, but it was a nice D from Tempest.
Alyssa Moran walking to the disc. Got a vertical stack. Like, I'd say quite a deep kind of stack at the moment. Suspect looking for Lacunza, but she swings it first to Nguyen. Throws a nice inside throw, but just a bit difficult to reel in over the head.
Dhaliwal picks the disc up, sees the cross field to Chatterton. She's just knocking on the door now, a few meters outside the end zone on the far sideline. Pivots and hits the open under, toes the line, waggles it in the air, says, "That's mine, 4-3.
That's heartening for if you're Bauhaus. And possibly like they stepped up their defense there a little bit. I got the feeling Tempest had a strong team out there, and they did, but they didn't have the kind of freedom that they had in some of the previous points. And maybe, possibly missing not having Moody on the field, because she definitely is capable of opening up the game.
Yes.
And she's on the field for this point, along with Wolski.
And it will be interesting to see what the chat is here from Bauhaus, what the defensive look is, because I mean, they just looking at the line the Bauhaus has got on, they don't really have the height necessarily to stop those deep shots. A lot of fast, shorter players, but the deep is going to be hard to stop if it's in the air. So what they'll come out in here will be interesting to see.
This is a difficult pull. We'll see how they go. It's hard to throw the backhand with the wind pushing across, and there's a bit of a struggle. It's rolling to close to brick mark. Moody picking it up. No one bothers to cut short. Oh yeah, they do. Oh. And Adlam just couldn't quite grab that.
Nguyen streaming to the end zone. Oh dear, that's unfortunate.
That was a solid hit. I'm not sure. Turnbow coming through and cleaned up the thrower.
Yeah. Just got caught in a bit of a Tempest pick sandwich, unfortunately.
There's a bit of North American ultimate being introduced there.
And Moody certainly wasn't going to give anything in that little piece of contact.
So still isolated in the end zone, but they're not looking for it.
Akabe with the disc. Back to Rakeho. It's in the air for a bit too long. Wow, nice little slide grab there from number 19. That's Tan. Tan searching around. Sees the break pass. Oh, and a nice bid.
Bids everywhere.
Yeah.
Couldn't reel it in.
No. This crossfield breeze is just pushing them above the receiver's head on this close sideline.
Think Moody's going to look for the short pass this time?
Yeah.
See what Wolski does.
Once
she presents a cut. Well, she is looking short. Gets it out to Thomas. The stack's a bit strung out, but they found some structure. Got it out to Wolski. A bit of space. She centers it to Jiting. But the turnover.
Akabe once again will look to probably finish this one if she can. Tan. Oh, and just out of the reach.
Moody picking it up. Wolski going. Too much air under that, but Wolski pulls it in beautifully.
Great read. Of course, she's not in the end zone. She wishes she was.
She gets the easy reset to Moody, who swings it out for a nice goal. Yeah, so they found their mojo back there, didn't they? Yeah, go back to the fundamentals and other things aren't working.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm kind of heartened that Moody did still look, for a short pass. She wasn't. She was happy to try and play the team structure, but also when you have Wolski going deep like that, there's no other choice.
Maybe a timeout call.
Yeah, time call out by Bauhaus.
So Bauhaus is coached by Michelle Phillips. She may well be coaching both these reserve teams, but anyway, she's actively coaching this game here. Much about kind of the tactical framework that Michelle likes to play with.
Yeah, well, Michelle is just one of Australia's best players, and also one of Australia's smartest coaches. Very creative. And really encourages creativity in her players, which I've really tried to build into my own kind of framework. She did a really excellent presentation at the AFDA coaching conference, which was held earlier this year and will be held again later this year. But she talked about how to design a drill and how to give players, I guess, a little bit of autonomy in thinking about how they solve the problem. So when they get on the field and they're presented with new situations that they haven't experienced before, they can work their way out of it rather than having to rely on a structure that might not work in every situation. So I'm sure that's part of what she'll be telling her players now, and what we talked about a little bit earlier with that poaching. She really gives her players a bit of license within a structure to go play their own game and try and solve the problem themselves.
Yeah, I think it's an important part of dare I say learning the game, but like the game of Ultimate, you can spend a lot of time drilling structure, but in the end, in the big games, the structure kind of goes down the gurgle a little bit, and you just got to learn how to play Ultimate. Like try to create some sort of structure out of chaos, and and that's really about recognizing patterns and how to develop offense or to create opportunities out of some sort of chaos that has a tiny bit of structure creeping in.
Yeah, so it'll be very exciting. Mish is, of course, the coach of the under-24 women's team that will be representing Australia at Worlds in Perth, under-24 Worlds in Perth in January 2018. So it'll be very exciting to see how she brings all those skills to bear, and again with that team, she's going to have a great bunch of athletes to work with. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, and I think we're pretty lucky to have a current Australian women's captain also taking on such a massive workload as a coach. Can only be good for the development of women's ultimate, I think.
Agreed, and one of the coaches of the other Australian team with women on it, the Barramundis, as the assistant coach for the mixed team. So we've got just an outrageous amount of experience teaching our young players, which is so exciting.
And I think Michelle also is bringing a little bit of style into the coaching role. She's got the jacket.
Yeah, I mean, easily.
And the stylish brown.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You can't pick your colours sometimes, but it's certainly.
I think you can if you invented the club.
Yeah, it's true. It kind of looks like she's ready to accept a fax on a business phone, but. The team has bought the blazer for Mish. As we get back to the action, and a nice little upfield pass. Now Bauhaus knocking on the door, 5 meters away. Molly with the disc, looking for a crossfield flick. Sees a nice inside. Have they got her in? There's a bit of disagreement. And the game advisors signal that it's a goal, which...
we not only succeeded in distracting ourselves from the play, I think we distracted... the Bauhaus coach from the play.
Yeah,
she has no idea how they scored that goal.
Yes.
She'll have to ask the players.
Exactly. Right, well, good timeout call then came out, confidently score a goal.
Yeah, the challenge is how to get the next one, really, isn't it? Like, you want to get that break back, don't you, in this situation? But the platform for getting a break back is a nice, clean offense. Often, if you can get your offense to flow and get the pressure off your offense, then it's often easier to generate the block.
Yeah, taking that pressure off is that key element. Just letting the defense do them rather than having to think, geez, if we don't get this one, then we're stuffed.
So it's 4-5 to Tempest. They're receiving. As mentioned before, the wind's pretty much across the field, from the camera side to the other side of the field to the far side of the field. Bauhaus, difficult pulling position in the backhand, right-hand backhand.
Let's go, Tempest!
Same result as last time,
It's going to roll around brick mark. Cargill picks it up. Gets to the Tempest, just very close bid. She finds space out to Lacunza. Not doesn't have much in front of her. Cargill gives her a nice dump. Back to Lacunza on the far sideline. But just slightly overthrows that. Looking for Lamb there.
Oh, and nicely run onto. She's got a player going deep, but she looks back in the middle of the field. That's to Harwell. Oh dear, and then just unfortunately overthrows Al. Geez, that's a tough one. You had a player streaming deep and look back in the field rather than the continuation.
Tamas with the disc. She centers it to Lacunza. Doesn't have much. Wolski's there now. Wolski looks to center it. Gets it to Lamb. Lamb doesn't have much. Gets it to Cargill. You've got a solid handle platform here. And Lacunza gets it out into space, but there's a pick call, I believe.
That's right.
That may or may not affect the play. Lacunza really when she finds space, she's hard to shut down. Yeah. And it goes back to Cargill around halfway.
Coming in on 2.
Doesn't want Tamas. Gets Wolski down the far sideline, who quickly moves it on to Lacunza. The flow stopped a little bit. Oh, nicely reeled in by Cargill. But she, wasn't really the option she wanted, I don't think.
Oh, okay, and Bauhaus are off. Still on this sideline. She's looking for the around, but it's nicely blocked by the Tempest player on the mark. It's going to be a high
Good
count.
pressure from Cargill.
Outrageous.
She read that play, got herself in between the thrower and the receiver.
Beautiful block.
She'll be happy to get that back. She looks immediately to center it to Tamas. Pulls it in. It was to Lamb, to Wolski. Lamb gets it back to Cargill. They're being quite patient in this possession. Tamas gives a nice lead out to the sideline. Just out of reach for Cargill. And there's a streak up.
Young picks it up. She wants it. All right, to Akabe in the middle of the field, who moves it. Oh, and it's nice movement here. Every single player behind her. Still got 20 meters rather to make up. Hits Young again. Oh, and it just slips through the fingers. Uncharacteristic mistake there from Young.
There was a sharp throw. That was tough to pull in, I think. Cargill with the disc. But a lot of field to play in and
Oh no.
called a timeout. Is there a problem with calling a timeout, Max?
No.
How many timeouts a game do you get?
You get 2 per
really?
game. Yeah, absolutely. Now you would know this, Potsy.
Oh, you need to explain it
I've
to
spoken with this with you on the stream before. 80% is the chance that if you call a timeout midpoint, you will turn it over. 80%. 4 and 5. It's a bad call. It's never a good call. You shouldn't do it. And yet, still, it's so prevalent in Ultimate. I mean, if I told you that there was a bowl of Skittles and 80% of them were poison, you wouldn't eat the bowl of Skittles. It's as simple as that. So I don't know.
Well, now that you've explained it like that, I understand entirely. Yes. No. I'm 100% with you on that one, Max. Always feel, as offense, you've got the advantage. It's pretty likely if you're tired, the other team's tired, and you just got to put your head down and run. And it's actually easier to play Ultimate when both teams are tired because it's easy to get free. But you need to have more than one person on the field who believes that, I suppose. You don't always have that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, again, earlier I saw one when I was commentating the Fat Chili versus Sublime game, and if there was one team that was probably going to prove me wrong about it, it's probably going to be Fat Chili, and of course, they didn't. A turnover almost straight off the bat. And, I mean, Tempest, again, they've played a style that doesn't actually mind a static start. They're okay with a huck early in the count to an isolated receiver. So it could pay off, but again, I just think it's less likely than likely.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does give the defense an opportunity to kind of think about structure a bit, get the right matchups, just think a little bit about what the first option might be off the stoppage and shut that down. They've set up the stack deepish, so I would say they're going to try and generate a cut in. But they've got good receivers in there, especially with Wolski and Lacunza. Lacunza cutting in from the back of the stack, but that's tight. And she pulls it in one-handed behind her. Great grab. Back to Cargill. Gets it back to Emily Berry. Tried to throw it over the top. That was a tight angle to get it into. And
nice
Max is happy.
41.
Smile on his face.
Yes, that's the one. 55. That's Ooh. Ooh shoots for the end zone. Oh, and a nice touch there. Great block by Tempest.
So Tempest looking a bit tired here. Do you think they should call a timeout?
I mean, now is the time to do it. If at first you don't succeed, Potsy, of course, try and try again. Look, maybe
I
after...
don't know. I'm not sure if the timeout in the middle of the point call is going to be eliminated from the game just by us ridiculing it all the time. Do you think?
I bloody hope so. Anyway, we'll see.
But I definitely empathise. It's hard when nothing's happening and the best option is just let's just talk about it. So, Tamas with a disc aggressively throws it to Wolski. It's a great throw down the far sideline. And she's got Lacunza, but Wolski's pretty conservative. I don't see her throwing those big throws often. Tamas, that just wasn't clear who she wanted to throw there. Tamas gave a good lead up the line. There was another receiver in there. Maybe Berry. But anyway, they've got position.
It's true. So, Bauhaus are going to start on their own end zone line. Right in the slightly downwind end of the field, or side of the field. Oh, not a lot happening. Cargill goes for the block, but overplays her hand a little bit. Vanderwerker in the middle of the field. Oh, no, that's Go. Go sends it to Akabe. And back to Go. Oh, Go sees a nice inside-out shot to Ooh. They're looking a little bit more confident, Bauhaus. Oh,
another great read by Cargill. Showing her experience, just totally read that and ran in and got the block. Picks it up. Lacunza giving her a lead. She doesn't want that. She wants that. She tried to huck it over the top to Wolski, who was free, but it just didn't have enough air under it.
Oh, and Young. Geez, the heart rate's up a little bit at the moment, and their decision-making has gone down as a result.
Yeah, they're looking tired, both teams. Lacunza, nice grab. Around her brick mark. She gives a bit of air. It was over the head of Holly Reagan.
All right, and number 41.
Around the brick mark, the Bauhaus will be picking up.
Looking to push the pace as well, jogging to the disc. Young goes to the break side. Oh, and just a skill error there, hits the ground.
Possibly Lacunza got a touch on that.
Oh, you think? Bit of pressure?
Possibly. Thomas with a disc. She gets it out to Reagan. Oh, nice grab. Back to Lacunza.
Wow.
She didn't look tired, did she?
No, she could have run all day.
She's quite an athletic woman.
Yes, that's it. And a beautiful goal for Tempest. And that's 6-4. That's a crucial one for them.
To be fair, Lacunza is huffing and puffing on the sideline, so she didn't find the point that easy. But yeah, she dominated really. Like every time Tempest had the disc, she was running into space, and such a handy receiver, such a physical presence on the field. And
really wonderful grabs in traffic as well. Just didn't look plussed at all.
Indeed, very non.
Very non.
And Wolski sucking wind as well, so they're like. Yeah, that was a long point, and they worked hard. They'll be happy to have gotten that. And yeah, we talked before that point that it was a good opportunity for Bauhaus to level the scores. They just had an easy offense, and they had a lot of opportunities, didn't they? And they actually looked really good in that, maybe in the middle of that point, in a vague way, where they got a bit of a breakout and they started to throw some leading passes out into the space. They actually looked really good, but they just couldn't keep that flow going. They do, like, their foundation is very much the shortish game, dinky little inside breaks, and they're feeling it just outside their end zone.
Yeah, not a great pull reception there. Oh, there's a bit of traffic, but there's plenty of time for the receiver underneath it.
They got the zone on them.
Bate gets a little bit surprised there. It's an interesting zone. Oh, and gets a touch, sends it right through traffic to Moody.
Pulls it in. She points deep.
Oh, and Bate is able to reel that one in. All right, so the zone is back on here, and Tempest will be looking to get a short field turn if they can. Cheeky one through the middle.
Oh, she's batted it on.
Oh, my God.
She's batted it on.
27, Ewan gets underneath it. Oh,
good
wow.
bid. Great bid by Ji-Ting.
Amazing.
Put a lot of pressure on that. Just threw herself in there. Moody picks it up. 15 metres out of the end zone, 20 metres out. Wants to throw the goal. Gets it over the top this time. Nice grab.
And they check the line. As nobody really knows, unfortunately.
There. We've got good perspective, don't we, Max? I'm calling it in.
Yeah, I think it was in.
The thrower's calling it in.
Well, Brett, the coach of Tempest, is calling it in, so maybe we should try and change our call, Putsy.
Game advisor involved, and it's always hard to know what level of advice game advisors can offer their perspective in this situation.
And there's an agreement that it is out the back.
There you go.
You can't get them all right. All right, so Bate will walk it up to their own end zone line. Oh, powerful cut through the middle there from number 90, Rakeho. Oh, and sees space again.
Oh, wow. Just out of reach.
This Tempest zone
Moody
is definitely producing the right result.
She wants to throw the goal again. Moran giving her up the line. And a beautiful throw into the end zone. And to Tang, I think.
That Tempest zone, definitely a little bit looser, not a traditional pommy. Sent the disc multiple times through the middle of the field, which is exactly what Tempest wanted by the looks of things.
Yeah, Bauhaus, every time they kind of threw it over the top, it got a little bit too much air and allowed a Tempest player to clean it up. And yeah, Moody was loving it in the middle, as like the short, deep, like it looked like a three-person cup. So there's a bit more support behind the cup when you only got three people in the cup. And Moody was loving picking those ones out.
Oh yeah, those gaps through the middle, you could see Moody sniffing those blocks a mile off.
And that's that's a challenge for a coach as well. Like, probably needs to realign things a little bit for Bauhaus. They did struggle against that zone. Like they never kind of. Yeah, the fundamentals of a zone are really to have a handler platform that you're confident in, that where they're not really needing to take any risks, and the challenge of the defense is to try and stop the offense from feeling comfortable. I think Bauhaus needs to kind of develop that platform and maybe get the right people out there.
Well, that was the thing. One of the things you noticed, you felt that Bauhaus were throwing the right type of pass, but the execution wasn't exactly what it needed to be. So that's probably good for a coach to see that the options are right, but the execution can still be improved on.
Very short pull.
Yeah, and they'll be happy to let that roll a little bit further.
Not zone.
Dallawall picks it up. Gets a little bit of space there to Akabe. Akabe now looking for a next option. Finds number 80, Ao, off the field. It's the Spirit captain. Cross back to Akabe. Akabe sees an inside. Wow, and Chatterton picks it up.
Very close to that.
A couple of centimetres from the ground. Chatterton now, nobody behind the disc. She's still firmly looking upfield. Oh, and maybe just overplayed her hand. Moody on the mark there, but is rewarded.
Moody walks to it. She's going to be looking for a streaker, but no one.
Oh, beautiful
nice
box out.
Grab by Kasuya. Just read that super well. She's now struggling to get it off, but she gets it off to Turnbow. There's a bit of, no, not talk, yep. Just that there's nothing being generated upfield. She gets it off to Moody. And Moody finds the space, but the receiver you feel like the receiver didn't quite pick that up early enough because she didn't really close that quickly enough.
But again, the meters are favouring Tempest, so it'll be Bauhaus picking it up on their own defending end zone line. Oh, hits a nice little around. That one just stays down low enough. Sees number 9 through the middle, Wong, but...
Turnbow runs to it. Ooh, she didn't like the short one. She's given it to Kasuya now. Gets it back on the sideline. Bit of air under her, but nicely thrown.
Beauty. Solid, quick handler. Solid handler movement there from Tempest. That's Tamas in the end zone.
Oh, it was Tamas, yeah. Tamas with the goal. And, yeah. Look, the aggressive style of play, or, yeah, I guess the deep game, really, from Tempest is definitely kind of proving the difference between the teams here. And that's half-time, yeah?
Yeah, that's half-time, 8-4. So that's a 3-point run for Tempest to take half, so they'll be stoked with that.
Indeed. And, you know, look, we talked at 5-4 about the importance of they didn't need to score that point, but it was a good opportunity for them to score that point, and now, kind of the reverse situation has happened, and Tempest has been able to get momentum out of that situation. So, yeah, I was surprised there that Tempest didn't come down in a zone. Looked really successful with me the point before. It's a cross-field wind, so there's not really a particular direction that you would or wouldn't want to be playing zone.
I mean, one argument, I suppose, is just to keep keep them guessing, change the momentum, and especially if Mish has gone out and talked to everybody about how to play it safe and do various things, and you come out and suddenly you see a man, or you saw all the misconnections that happened as a result. So probably a wise move by Mr. Super Coach Brett Latham. But I do love a bit of coach versus coach. That's what we're all about.
Yeah. Look, it's a great evolution of Australian Ultimate. I think that we're at Div 2 Nationals now. Like, who cares about Div 2 Nationals? But all these teams have coaches.
Yeah.
It's fantastic to see.
So good.
And I think it adds a lot to the experience for the athletes and just the development of the sport. So it's great to see, and can't underestimate how much dedication and how many hours it takes to be a coach of a club team in Australia. Like, there can be a long season, a lot of training sessions, a lot of planning.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and one of the values is, especially a tournament like Div 2, the level of play is going to be very varied. You're going to have some games which, especially if you're a mid-tier team or a team, you expect to lose a few and expect to win a few. And the ability of a coach to keep the energy levels, to keep I guess, positivity of the team going through a tournament like Div 2, which can sometimes be, it can be really draining on you, as if you're losing a couple of games, you're facing some really tough teams. It's a coach can have a real value in terms of just driving development all the way through, rather than having games where you're down 10 points and you just don't want to be there and play. coach can really help you get the most out of every kind of minute.
Yeah, and so we haven't really talked much about your coaching credentials, and but you're coaching or co-coaching the Australian mixed under 24 team that's playing in Perth early next year.
Yeah, as I said, me, Danny Alexander is other co-coach, and Anson Chun. So we've got a really good pedigree team. Danny, of course, the captain of the Barramundis in 2016, the Australian mixed team who represented Australia in London, and Anson, who's had done more Worlds campaigns than I've had hot dinners. He's just an absolute genius when it comes to strategy and organisation and team structure. So it's I'm really looking forward to it. Should be a good campaign.
And have you done much club coaching? Have you been a non-playing coach at the club level?
I've never played a mixed national. I've played every mixed nationals and nationals. So the answer is no. But uni clubs, I have had a little bit of coaching experience. Coached UTS most recently, which really enjoyable experience, and it's that was I think the most value I could add anytime you really got to the tough bits of tournaments is the where you learn the most is usually the times when you're down, not when you're up. So if you can focus people in those moments, you get a lot better development opportunity than you would without a coach and without focusing in those moments.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing about Ultimate is that you don't just play the game to win, do you? Because if that's all you do, you're gonna most of the time you're gonna end up being, unhappy or dissatisfied. Like You've got to take enjoyment and take positivity from like everything that happens on the field, or every little challenge that you kind of set yourself and are successful at. And it doesn't always come down to the scoreboard. And I think a coach can help a lot in terms of framing the game in that way.
Totally. So second half here, I mean, Tempest, they've got quite a significant lead now. You, as I said earlier, I didn't think that Tempest were quite as dominant as it said on the scoreboard, but certainly when you only have another 25 minutes left in this game, if you're Bauhaus, you have to do something to change the momentum.
Yeah, I mean, we did mention, we didn't really check, but I think Tempest came second at nationals last year, so like they are a strong team with a bit of history in a division that doesn't have a lot of history, but Tempest formed last year, but they do have a fair amount of experience in their ranks, and I think that's something we've also seen in Div 2 nationals, especially this year, and both in the men's and the women's side of things, is like a few older players like myself pulling the boots out of the bottom of the cupboard and coming out and mentoring teams. Sorry, we'll go back to the game.
As a big pull flies out there from Tempest, and it looks like Bauhaus signal that they will take the brick.
Yeah, and just to finish that thought, when I say mentoring, in my case, it's more about just shouting. But everyone gets a different experience from their older players, so I'm just providing one end of the spectrum.
Young swings it across the field. Tempest bring that zone out again. You're right, it's that cup, and Moody is hunting a block in the backfield. Young moving it confidently there. Oh, hits a beautiful inside across the field to Nguyen.
And you want to keep it on this side, really, in a cross-field wind.
Pass it confidently to Nguyen, and you can see that they're happy to swing it across to Young. We'll then look for a continue. Fakes a pass. Hits number 90, that's Rakeho. Oh, and a high backhand from Rakeho, but that'll come off. It's to Ng to Nguyen.
Oh,
Nguyen
nice.
Around to Bates. Oh, and they're really getting close now. Oh, and beautiful moves the defender with a fake. Young, another really crisp fake, and the crossfield is just so crisp. And they can almost jump it in here. They're a couple of meters out of the end zone. Still patiently swinging it. And looks like Young's going to get. It is Dhaliwal in the end zone. And that was much better than that previous point that we saw, Potsy.
I would hazard to get. I don't think Molly Young was on that previous offense. She definitely made a difference. Like that downwind sideline, you really need to have someone strong and confident. And yes, there's some amazing crossfield throws from her into the wind. That maybe one of them had a little bit of air under, but plenty of space. other than that, beautiful throws that just really ripped the zone apart.
And you talk about it a lot, of course, when you're playing a zone, is that, you know, you're going to usually have to give them something. If with those crossfield passes, what you want from them is either A, a turnover, or B, you want them to be floaty. You want to give your defense time to set up. But they were crisp and fast directly to the receiver, and it meant that most of the time Bauhaus were just attacking up this the camera side of the end zone, which was very powerful.
Yeah, and they looked good once they got a bit of movement on this sideline. They moved it quickly and they moved it confidently. So, some good news if you're a Bauhaus fan. They looked different in that point, I think, and it's
agreed.
So you just need to turn something on defense here. Got to really somehow work out how to protect against those deep shots. Like Moody, I'd be marking with someone big and stopping the hucks both sides, like straight up on her. I think she's hurting him too much. Shortish pull, gets over halfway, but not much more. Turnbow with the disc, I think.
Unmarked at the moment.
Out to Tamas. She's on the upwind sideline. Gets it to Jiting. Back to Turnbow in the middle of the field, again unmarked, I think. And there's a bit of talk, but no stoppage. Back to Tamas. Moran's trying to get free, but she's been well marked. Tamas gets it again to Jiting. Nice, good, confident grab there from Tang. She swings it out to Turnbow. Turnbow looks end zone.
Oh,
good
wow.
grab under pressure.
Beautiful. Just
very nice.
Pass after pass is very crisp, exactly where they needed to be.
Is that Nian Cheng, maybe? I think so.
Wow, and then, so without the huck, Tempest still just moves it up with a few 10, 20, 25-meter passes. Mish giving her defenders a bit of a pep talk there. Don't worry, you'll get him next time.
The defense looked good there. Like they had to throw the disc around a lot. And there's a bit of pressure. They shut down Moran pretty well, which is a hard thing to do. But eventually, Tempest was able to break out of it. But I'd say pretty promising in terms of the defensive pressure there.
And it's what we talked about before. Offense has the advantage. So, I mean, the D did what they needed to do, but the offense was crisp enough to withstand.
And they were patient, weren't they? Like when their upfield cutters had a bit of pressure on them, they just looked away. Tamas, can't remember who else was handling. Maybe Jiting maybe was handling with her a bit. But they just kept moving it amongst themselves and didn't worry too much if they didn't have the open receiver upfield.
Agreed. Now we'll see if Tempest come back out in this zone or whether they'll pack it away after that previous experience. I guess if I was Brett, I'm guessing they're going to come back out in man rather than do that zone again. But we'll see.
Or person.
Person. Got to call it person. Sorry, I have been continuously. No,
we all know it's fine.
I don't.
But,
I don't want to.
They're habits that are, take a little while to break.
It's good.
As long as we're conscious, we'll fix it up.
Coming down, hard chase there, and it is match. And 27 read the play very well, but now Bauhaus in power position. Just got the deep receiver. But
they definitely had two open receivers there, but didn't want to take it.
Goes back to Bate. Bate sees a nice crossfield pass. That's number 90, Rakeho. Oh, and Rakeho.
Nice throw.
Not afraid to pull the trigger on that one. Number 19, Tan. And once again, Rakeho knocking on the door. Oh, and a beautiful around dump.
Good D, but
Bate manages to rugby catch it into a chest. Sees Rakeho. Rakeho wants that break. She's nodding at her upfield receivers, but she's going to have to look back to Bate. Going to get to a high stall. Oh, my God. And again, Bate just with glue on her hands. And now they're only a few centimeters outside the end zone. Bate once again with another opportunity. Pivots hard into her mark. Oh, and a nice little Nice little inside there to
That
Akabe.
was some assertive play from Bate, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
she was wrestling that disc.
Yeah, that was
away
crazy.
from the defenders.
And I mean, you
And
can't
then,
put much
like,
more
when
pressure on that.
She was outside the end zone. She just fronted up both shoulders and like, I'm just going to throw the goal here, and she threw the goal. Yeah.
It's exciting
to
stuff.
see.
But just, I mean, the defense there was about as good as you're going to get.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of good bids there from Tempest. Still, as a commentator, I'm good to see the game stay tight.
Yeah, it's good.
It's always fun to watch a game that has a bit of tightness about it.
It feels like it's heating up a little bit. It's just everybody's and it's crisper than it was a little bit earlier. There was lots of concentration maybe in the middle, and now when you start getting near the end of a game, there's still anybody could win. That really focuses the mind.
Yeah. I'm pretty impressed with what. It's almost like a slightly different team we're seeing from Bauhaus. Like a lot more confidence, a bit more open play, better defense. So they've made the adjustments they need to make, or at least some of the adjustments they need to make to start to get back in the game.
Yeah, still interesting that they're not hitting some of those deep shots when you just see them so open.
It's hard, isn't it? Like, I mean, obviously not everyone is as confident to throw the deep shot, and so.
But some of the players we're seeing get those discs, like Akabe, and getting the disc in movement, open, and still not shooting. But we'll see.
Turnbow takes on the sideline, centers it straight away to Lacunza. She's got not much in front of her. Still not much. Gets it off to Lamb. Swings it. Back to Turnbow. She's pointing. And she throws. Almost sneaks through. Not a great shot. Receiver kind of standing deep.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about these point and shoot ones. Young sees the inside option, but there's a
Execution
miscommunication.
error cleaned up.
Nicely picked up from the front of stack there. Still getting to these high counts. What a great layout.
That was a heavy landing.
Yeah, just tough. Got her legs kind of just caught as she landed on the ground, but
Almost looked like she
go.
found some dirt in the mud patch.
Yeah. And go. Oh, Wolski putting pressure on, but Young eats it up. Oh, what an up the line cut there. In power position.
Big cutter deep.
Oh, and Chatterton. It's just again the heart rate, but it's a nice
If they had a bit more air under it, that was good.
It's a beautiful dump movement. That's textbook stuff.
It's Moody with the disc. We kind of know her game, but it's very strung out the stack. Wolski middle of the stack. Into traffic. Oh, that could have been picked up over the top, but it wasn't.
Young jogs over. Looking for an under hit early. Sees a bit of...
Good poach, but
wow,
not
just the longer
successful.
arms of Chatterton there.
Yeah.
Winning the day. Let's go again. Oh, and Chatterton, who just manages to keep it in. Runs it back to the sideline. Chatterton looking to get it off. Oh, just underthrows a
Maybe a
receiver.
touch? I'm not
yeah,
sure.
definitely. I think it was a
Yeah.
touch there, but underthrew the receiver, made it very hard.
Yeah. That was definitely an opportunity to score. And Moody picks the disc up. Bauhaus is backing the back of the stack. They know what Moody wants to do.
There's
a
injury
sort
on
of
the
injury,
field.
so I think she's going to come off cramp or something.
Looked like number 98, was that? Is that So taking off the field?
We had a couple of injuries in our game, our last game, and pretty much every time there's an injury, we took an opportunity to sub one of our old guys off. Get some young legs out there, because they were usually in long points. Okay, Moody with the disc. Yeah.
Misaligned
Just-
there, and Young wants to finish it. Tough.
Bit of over-eagerness from both teams. Moody probably won't try the short shot again, hey?
Who
We'll
knows?
see.
Third time's a charm.
Gives a bit of air to that one over Turnbow's head, but Wolski's cleaning it up. She probably won't huck based on previous form and gives it back to
But she's off
Turnbow, but
again.
she's gone deep.
Oh,
A big fake from Turnbow to Jiting. Back to Turnbow. To Moody, she wants to hug it. She gives it air. Oh!
Wow. Both players converging on the space. And nice attempt by the Tempest player in the end to reel it. But Molly Young, just an inch away from the corner. Oh, pressure on the sideline. Oh, Chatterton gets a lot of space. Very interesting to see whether she hits it. Oh, hits it inside and just
it's a little bit behind and not picked up.
Yeah, Van der Werke will be upset she didn't reel that
Lacunza looking for something simple. Finds it.
Ooh. Wow, great hand block there from number 34.
Yeah, Lacunza also doesn't really want to put the disc deep on the field, so she's looking for something short.
Dhaliwal straight away, cutting again. Young got the disc. High still count. Oh, almost right out of the stack. Chatterton with it. Chatterton calling the shots as well. Closer now. 5 meters out. Oh, and Chatterton does it with her legs.
From here, it looked like that was going to be good, but it just faded out the side.
Jeez.
That was a golden opportunity there. Again, like same position as that previous shot into the end zone.
Yeah, Bauhaus now probably, 4, 5 shots into this end zone?
Yeah. Oh, Wolski with a nice, easy underpass. Isn't thrown. And now Moody's looking for the dump. Traffic to Lacunza, but she's got lots of space in the end. And again, I think she wants a short option. Gets it to Moody. Moody puts a big swing in. Puts air under it. Turnbow nicely read. Nicely grabbed on the knees. She puts it into space to Lacunza.
Beautiful. Doesn't even look at the result.
She's happy to get off the field. That was a long point.
Love a bit of that. Never look at an explosion, they say. Always walk away.
Oh, Bauhaus. There was some golden opportunities there. Most of the play in that point was down there into the field, really. Yeah. And Tempest didn't look super, the offense didn't look super confident. It was a lot of just, especially Moody just getting the disc up in the air deep, didn't really have a receiver. And enough, eventually one of those came off.
And one of the more brutal things, you could talk about playing for meters and position, but really in the end, Bauhaus wasn't having any difficulty moving it up through the field. It was just when they got to the end zone line that they were really having difficulty. And yeah, that will prove to be a pretty telling point, it would seem, because you go from 6-10, which is the current score, to Tempest. Could have been 7-9 with another point to play now. That's quite a massive swing at this late in the game.
Yeah, no, but it's definitely possible the Bauhaus can come back, but it has become harder, and the time cap has just fallen, so they'll finish this point and add 1 to the highest score. So it's going to be a game to 11 or 12, which means that Bauhaus needs to score 5 or 6 points from here to win the game.
So Bauhaus going to get another opportunity. Akabe gets the disc, sends to bait. Oh, and a lot of pressure applied by Tempest. Oh, Tempest is bidding everywhere at the moment, but Bauhaus eating the pressure. Oh, a nice upfield pass to Wong. Jeez, there's a lot of pressure out there on the field. Tempest really want to end this game. Akabe, beautiful fake, opens up a nice inside to Wong. Oh, and again it's floaty, but all the players are in the right place.
That's one.
That's it. And yes, as the Bauhaus sideline says.
Yeah. They know what they need to do. So, game to 11. Bauhaus needs to score 4 in a row.
Yeah.
It's possible.
It's something magical about this moment in a game, though, Podsy, when everything just becomes clear. There's no more, well, should we do this? When are we going to do this? What are we going to do? It's simple as this. It's just, if you want to win Bauhaus, you got to score 4 points.
And the flip side of it is, as offense, sometimes you can think, we've got a bit of a cushion, and we're pretty confident, and then you lose one, you're like, still got a cushion. Lose another one, and then you start to have a lot of self-doubt, and the momentum's with the other team. Yeah. So, and if you often, amazingly, how much we talk about, turning up the intensity. You know, you're not, you as a coach or as a player or a captain, you know, sure, at the start of a game, as a team, you talk about it every game. Let's come out running hard. Let's come out with some intensity. Let's get blocks in the first point. Yeah. But it never matches the intensity you see when everything's on the line at the end of a game.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can't argue with a scoreboard.
Yeah, and you know how much more effort you've got to put in at the end of a game. Like, I just got to run hard for another 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and you can invest more. Anyway, Lacunza has a disc. She's looking tentative, and she doesn't have a single cut. But just floats it over the top to Moody, who wants to finish it now, and she probably will.
Wow.
To Moran.
I mean, they've finished doing what they've done all game. Just a lot of experience.
Well, they almost finished the way they started. Remember, they played a little bit of Germany sort of look, and I think that's what was happening there. Like, Lacunza with the disc was kind of jittery. Like, she wanted Moody to make that little cut so she could toss it up into the space, and was waiting for that. So I think that was the game plan, to just throw into space on the first pass, and patience paid for them. And a nice throw from Moody to the end zone, which again has been much of a pattern of this game, their aggressive style of offense.
Yeah, but a wonderful game there. Really, it started fairly close, but Tempest actually managed to keep Bauhaus kind of at least a few points buffer the whole game, and but not through lack of opportunities from Bauhaus. They had their chances, just couldn't capitalize when it really mattered. But some excellent play, really athletic stuff in the middle there, and it's good to watch.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll finish this live stream. Thanks for having me, Max.
My pleasure, Potsy.
Everyone at home, enjoy. We've got 2 more games today. And,
so
and what's next up?
Coming up next, we've got a women's pre-quarter, so we'll finally get to the elimination stage of this competition, which should be very exciting. And then our evening game for you, the 6 p.m. match, is the Towns Villains from Townsville in Queensland versus Chadstone Colossus from Melbourne, Victoria. So join us for that. Thanks, guys. We hickled you a bit.